I'm DLEOT2K. These are 4 things you can't do on the Maschine 2.2 update. Let's get started. Number 1, you cannot create custom chord sets. Now, I was really excited to hear about this feature with the latest update, but the problem was that you had major chord sets and you had minor chord sets like major 1 to 7 and I think minor 1 to 7. So you had these chord sets that, you know, fit good together. But what about that chord in between that you want to have in your sequence that's not inside of the chord set? Well, I play piano and I know how to chord and create different chords on my own, so it would have been great that I could program those into my own pad, similar to like an app called Accordion. And the cool thing about Accordion was that you could implement your own chords and pick them however you want, even though they're might not be part of the original scale or set that you started off with, you know. So once again, you can't create your own custom chords on the pads themselves other than using the built-in chord sets and presets that they already have up in there. So that's number 1. Number 2 and number 3 kind of go together, but we're going to go with number 2. Number 2 is that you can create your own custom arpeggiators. Now, with the experience with FM7, which is another VST plugin from Native Instruments, they have a special arpeggiator built in that I really liked, that enabled you to kind of custom the semitones or the direction of the arpeggiator in there. It was a very powerful arpeggiator that came built in. And so obviously I was hoping for that same functionality when Maschine 2.2 came out with the arpeggiators, which is great. It's a step in the right direction, but it's not really as flexible as I would like it to be. And plus there's some preset arpeggio rhythms up in there that I don't like that much. Maybe someone else does, but I would like some more flexibility and variety. A good example of a lot of arpeggiators that more than you even need or really want to use is on a motif. If you check the arpeggio presets on that, it's like 64 or above, you know. And so I was hoping for a lot more of that kind of experience than the limited few options of the rhythms that they had up in there. So it would be great to have some sort of mode where you could program your own arpeggiators. Which ties me into number 3. You can't use arpeggiators from your own MIDI controller that you paid money for. This is a $499 upgrade to be able to arpeggiate from a keyboard inside of the Maschine sequencer. You actually do have to buy a Control-S keyboard just to arpeggiate. You cannot use your MIDI controller, you can't use your keytar, you can't use anything. But you can arpeggiate on the pads on Maschine. So again, you know, I can see that, you know, Native Instruments was wanting to promote their keyboard, I understand, but it's just kind of redundant. You know, let us go ahead and use our MIDI controllers that we have and let those arpeggiate as well. What's the fun in arpeggiating on pads when you can't do it on chords? Especially for musicians who know how to play piano much better than I do, to be able to arpeggiate your own chords instead of having to buy a few $100 keyboard just for that functionality. So that's 2 and 3 tied in together right there. Number 4, you cannot assign MIDI control CCs to external gear from the macros. This is something that I was really disappointed to find out, because this is something I've been recently trying with some hardware. I've been trying to mess with hardware and make it mix with Maschine a little bit more and have a little bit of fun with that. But when I went to the macros and saw the options, it didn't really quite make it that intuitive or easy. And correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm not correct on this, but I couldn't assign MIDI control CCs to the knobs. Yes, you can paint them on the bottom in the automation section on Maschine, but you cannot assign them to the little 8 knobs, which one of them is starting to go out because I have an MK1, to the MIDI CCs. For instance, the main filter on the sub fatty is MIDI control number 19. Okay, so I hope I remember that correctly. But anyway, yeah, I can paint automation from the sub fatty to that MIDI CC channel into Maschine. But what if I'm on the Maschine control surface, and you know they love to sell about workflow. What if I'm on the Maschine control surface? I got my sub fatty running this great bass line, and I want to tweak the filter right here. I don't want to turn over. Maybe I'm in the moment and I'm trying to do something on the fly here. I can't assign a knob to it. Now, yes, they'll want you to go, oh, well, you can do it in MIDI mode. You can assign anything you want in MIDI mode. That's cute. That's fine. But what if I don't want to use MIDI mode? Maybe I want to be able to control other things as the Maschine controller, because let's be honest, the Maschine controller works best as Maschine controller. It does not work best as a MIDI controller. It works best as a Maschine controller. That's what it's designed to do. You only have about 8 plus 3 knobs if you have MK1. So again, it would be nice to be able to control different parameters and filters and all that different things on multiple MIDI hardware devices with a macro knob. You know, and then if it's cool, and then, you know, the whole thing about macros is that you're able to apply more than one function to one knob. So it would be great if I could assign multiple CCs on MIDI channels and MIDI destinations and stuff like that. But unfortunately, the machine controller in machine mode does not allow you to do that. So that wraps it up. 4 things you can't do on Maschine 2.2 update. I hope this gets out and spreads out and hopefully gets Native Instruments to implement these functions. Not quite sure if they like to listen to me, but I'm a big fan of their software and hardware. It's just that I wish I could do, there's always more I wish I could do with it that they seem to not implement. It's been a long process over the years, but hopefully I can upgrade to a nice Maschine studio and go from there. But please share, please comment, and spread the word. Let's get these functions in there. Thanks. Peace.
T2K